glad everybody came today. I don't know what we're gonna hear. If you got any questions, ask. And I got somebody back there that's Justin. So anyway, we do appreciate all of you coming. We're gonna ask Rick, if he will, to ask the Lord to bless this gathering, and we will do whatever it is we're gonna do. There's food. By the way, there's restrooms down this hall. Back here in our back, there's restrooms through this door from here, men's and women's, both places. So, just so you know.
So all of you who know this family, you know that we are a storytelling family. We all get accused of that. Not all of our stories are true, but nevertheless, we're good storytellers. And we learn from the best. In fact, when I was young, I said I don't like the Bible because there are no pictures in it. How wrong I was when I started reading and I realized the best pictures are there. It's the kind of pictures that this lady's going to do today. They're in story. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You can see it. There it is. So storytelling is a part of our heritage, so glad to be here with all of you. We're grateful to our God for these ladies who represent the family that we came from. Thank God for the family that we came out of. We are truly blessed, you know that. So God, thank you. Thank you that you blessed us with a great family, great heritage. The stories that have shaped and molded and directed our lives were birthed in the hearts of these who have gone before us. And so to that end, we pray that you would use these stories to continue to do that in our lives. And to you, we give all praise, honor, and glory. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Anybody would like to go ahead and get them something, some snacks or some drinks, whatever. Let's do that. And I think Mom's ready to go.
She was ready to go when I got here.
You got to get them feet up in there. There you go. You got to get this thing close to her.
Well, I've been ready to go about this thing ever since. Joe is the one that put the spark in it. He was talking to me one day. He said, how did our grandparents get together? One lived 60, 70 miles away, another in another part. There was no transportation. How did they get together? I said, I know the story. So I've been digging, and I got Lane's granddaughter. She has been so helpful. She was hunting her father's relatives, and she run into ours, and we are kin to her. That's what gets you in trouble when you start trying to figure out who you kin to. No, we're proud of Lane. She done all the writing, she done all the search. She really done a lot to help with this, and I am so proud of her. But as we think about who we are and how we got here, everybody has a story. There is always a reason for somebody's existence. And the way our story started, my grandmother, my mom's mother, was a Johnson. And she married a man, Mr. Gibbs. And he was an older man, much older. And they had 2 sons. And when these 2 sons were just little, the baby was 2, and the other was something other, 3 or 4, something like that. Mr. Gibbs died. But in his will, he willed all of his money to his 2 sons, but they couldn't get it until they become of age. And he willed the farm to our grandmother. And that's how it all started. My grandmother, after Mr. Gibbs died, she met our granddaddy, Sam Pierce, and she married him. And they began to have their family then. And as time went on, kids come real fast back in those days. When the baby boy, Uncle Felder, I've been asked about him in some of the crowd here. Mama's baby brother was 9 months old when our grandmother died. And Mama was 9. She was the oldest child. She was 9 years old, and she had to raise that baby. Can you imagine putting one of your little granddaughters or something that's 9 years old over a baby, you gotta raise this baby. My granddaddy he had to work, but he was farming the land that our grandmother had inherited. And then the weather got bad for several years, they couldn't grow a crop. Our granddaddy took a job in the commissary. Some of you people may not know what a commissary is, but it's a grocery store that has a lot of stuff. To feed the family, that's how he fed the family. He took this job, and it went on for 3 or 4 years, and he couldn't grow, because DuPont is in the edge of the open swamp. It is nothing but mud and water. So he talked to the kids, and he told them on one occasion, he had already remarried now, after our grandmother married. He remarried pretty quick, because he needed a wife to help with those kids. And we talked to the first bunch of his kids, and said, we have got to do something. We can't live like this. I've got to get some way to make a living. So they agreed, the 5 kids, by my grandmother, they agreed that he could go and try to find a place that's suitable for making food, grow and things. So he saddled his horse and he left. And he was gone several weeks before he came back. And he told them, he said, I found the perfect spot. And I bought, what do you call it when you pay so much down to hold the land? He paid something down to hold the land until he could really make the choice of what he wanted to do. So that's what they agreed, that they would move. And he said, it's in Pierce County. It's a way off, but we can make it. This is some of the stuff that Mama told her. She wanted to be a school teacher. She tried. And she remembers a lot of things. And this is what she's told that Granddaddy said, we've got to do something. So they agreed. He went back to Pierce County and made arrangements to get the farm. And he come back and he began to build wagons. He had to build wagons because that's the way they had to move. So he built one covered wagon for the furniture and the clothes, but they built some other wagons for them to ride in. Took 3 weeks to go from DuPont, Georgia to Pierce County, Florida. Pierce County, Georgia. Anyway, it was quite a trip, Mama said. They had a lot of fears and things that would come scare them. They couldn't travel the main roads. You cannot get out on the main roads with stuff like that. And they had to go across a lot of creeks and had to cross one river. They had to unload everything before they could get the horses and the wagons across. Then they had to put it all. It was hard, very hard on them, but they made it. And they went to Pierce County, and that's where they settled. They found this place, and I know right where the place is. I could go right there to it, because I went with Mama several times. She wanted to go back. Every so often, I'd just like to go back and see, and we would. So as time went on, they enrolled in the old school that was right there in that neighborhood. What was the name of that school? Harrington School, the old Harrington School. And she wanted, like I said, she wanted to be a school teacher, and that's what she was preparing herself for. So she finished through the grammar school through the 7th grade, and in those days, when you graduated from the 7th grade, you could go straight to college. And there was a college in Blackshear, Presbyterian College. It's the old high school. If somebody, Joe went, it was the old high school that I think it's still there. The college left, and that's when they turned it into a regular school. She went a year, she boarded with the Davises, Lloyd Davis's family in Blackshear. And when she went the next year, about halfway through the school season, our granddaddy Pierce came down with cancer of the face, and her brother Raymond had TB of the bone in one of his legs. And the expense was so great that granddaddy could not keep her in college no more, he had to take her out. So she came back. It didn't disappoint her all that much. She went back to school just to help the teacher. She didn't get no money, she wasn't hired, she done this all on her own. And she helped the teacher, tutor her kids, and she was happy with that. So at the end of the school year, there was always a school closing. You young people don't know nothing about the school closings. I knew about them. We have them. At the end of the school, they would always have little programs for the kids to do if the parents could get there and see it. So Mama, on one occasion, she rode the school bus that morning. She wanted to see what we were doing. But getting back now to her, there she was helping the teacher at the old Heritage School. And she put a play together. And the teacher liked it. And she said, well, we'll do this on school closing day. So that's what they prepared for. They got it all fixed and lined up on the porch. There was a porch around the school building. And the teacher said, this don't look like I think it ought to. We need some little trees or bushes, something to fill in. So the teacher was trying so hard to figure out how they was going to make the play work. When this young man came up to the school closing in a buggy and a horse, she said, okay, this is our answer. She went to it and she says, Lester, I want you to take Carrie and take her around to these houses and borrow some plants off of the porches. And you better behave yourself. Now this is exactly the way Mama told. Anyway, they went. They got some bushes and things and put them on the porch, and the play went on, it was fine. And the teacher was so happy that she told Mama, she said, you're gonna make a great school teacher. Well, Mama still had it in her heart that she was gonna be a school teacher. Well, when the play was over, they had to deliver the plants back. And she said, Lester, you heard what I said, behave yourself. Well, that's exactly what he did. And that's how Mama and Daddy got together. They got to dating after that. And they soon got married. I don't know what year it was. Somebody might know that has some more of this information than I do. But that's the way we became Pierces and Boyds.
So how old is Grandma Boyd?
Y'all gonna have to talk loud.
How
I'm up
old
here.
is Grandma Boyd? How old?
She passed.
No, when she got married.
How old was she?
When she got married.
She was 19.
Okay.
See, she had finished high school, or in grammar school. At that time, it was high school. And she had went to college 1 year and a half of another, so she was 19. And when Granddaddy Pierce came down with cancer, it really was bad. It went fast. And then my uncle, Mama's brother Raymond, had to have his leg amputated, but he got an artificial leg, and he went on to be very, very good. But Mama's the two oldest brothers that was born to our grandmother when she married the Gills, Uncle Lee, Uncle, y'all, when you get 90 years old, you forget. Uncle Grover and Uncle Ben. Uncle Grover took a job with the state highway department, and Uncle Ben became a politician, and he made a great one. Jason pulled him up on his camera, phone thing,
Yeah.
and it told everything this man did. I mean, he was smart.
He made a judge and he was a senator. Yeah.
He done a whole lot of stuff before he died. We never met his wife, our aunt. We never met her. She was a society girl. She didn't have anything to do with country folks. And we were country folks. But we lived good. We lived as good as anybody did in those days. Because our daddy worked hard. Our mama made our clothes. She worked hard. She created dishes that everybody was fascinated with. Fried green tomatoes. My economics teacher in high school thought I was crazy. When she asked me one day, she knew there was a big bunch of us young, and she said, "Do you know what do y'all eat?" I said, "Fried green tomatoes." She thought I was crazy. She went home and told her husband, she said, "Genoa's family has got to be very poor." He said, "Why?" I said, "They eat fried green tomatoes." He said, "Don't knock it till you try it." Well, she spent days hunting some green tomatoes. She finally got them. She told me. She finally got them. She fried them. He told her, he said, "Don't throw that recipe away. That's the best thing I ever eat." That's the way my mama was. She would create something that you would never dream that would be worth anything to eat. But she had to do that when she was growing up. She had a hard life. Mama was proud of her life. She was proud of her family. The Johnsons were very, very educated people and smart. Her grandparent Johnsons. Joseph E. Johnson, that you studied about in Georgia history, was my mama's uncle, great uncle. His two brothers was in the same war, and they were not as recognized as Joseph was. They were very educated people, the Johnsons were. I met some of them when Mama lived with me, and they were fine people. They really were. So we had a good heritage in our lifetimes with our families. We got enough to be proud of, y'all. I don't mean in a way that would make us seem to be better than anybody else. But we come from good blood. We come from clean blood. There was nothing ill that we have found, and Lane can tell you this. Nothing. She was hunting her daddy's people, and she kept digging and digging till she come across a family named Harnages. Her daddy was kin to them, and we were kin to them. So she kept digging. She, bless her heart, she's sweet as pie. She dug all this stuff up for us. Y'all need to thank her. It was good to learn all this stuff. It's amazing what she has written down and what she has kept for us, our future, to have, to be with, to learn and to know more about our family in the past. It was great. And I enjoyed it. I still want to hear some more. And she's going to get more. Y'all have any questions? She can answer them.
Tell them about how Mother paid for the farm.
Oh, yeah.
And
That, I should have got to that. I missed it. I left that out, not intentionally. When Granddaddy was talking to his 5 children about moving, the farm belonged to our grandmother, his wife. And she had died at this time, and our granddaddy had remarried. But he was talking to those 5 children, and he said, I know I have no say-so over the farm because it is made out to your mother, Carrie. But if we move, if we do anything, we're going to sell it. We can't carry the farm with us, and we can't go off and leave it. We've got to have some money to start on. And they were old enough at that time to understand what their daddy, our granddaddy, was telling them. We've got to do something. That's how they got to Pierce County. So when they bought the farm where we were raised, it came from Mama's money. Mama's money bought the farm. And Daddy never threw that up. He never made an issue out of it. In fact, I didn't know that until sometime later. My mama was telling us all this younger stuff that they did, all of this traveling with the wagons and all that. I didn't know that the money was actually our grandmother's. And Mama took that money and bought the farm where we lived, where we were raised. There were no fields, nothing was cleared. Mama and Daddy cut the trees. They hauled them to our granddaddy Boyd's house. He had a sawmill, and he sawed the lumber. They built the house. Mama and Daddy lived with our grandparent Boyds, and until they got the house where they could move into it. And that house burned later in life, and us older folks know about that. And then they rebuilt the same house in the same place, and that house now sits right down the road from us. And a boy Boyd. I met him this past Saturday, I think, for the first time. I knew he was there. I had been down to visit with him, but every time I went twice, every time I went, he was never there. But he came up to my Saturday morning. I was sitting on the porch, and this truck stopped, and this fella got out, and he was stooped over doing something. I said, "Are you in trouble?" He said, "No, ma'am, not really. I'm trying to get my dogs. They run away from home. They're little bitty things." And I walked out to the mailbox, and I asked him, I said, "Where do you live?" He said, "In that house right down there, it's in the woods. You can't see it." I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Jonathan Boyette." I said, "Okay." Now I'm getting the picture. And then I told him I was a Boyd. I said, "You said Boyette, we say Boyd, spelled the same." He said, "Yeah, we were taught to say Boyette." I said, "Well, we were taught to say Boyd." I told him, I said, he said, "I know about you, but I've never met you." And I told him we were having this little get together, and I said, "The family would love to meet you." And he said, "Well, if it's where I can, I'd like to come." So I don't see him, so I don't know. Maybe we can get together again one day. But I told him how proud I was. If you drove up to that house, you would think it was sitting on that hill where we were raised. It looks the same. He hasn't changed nothing outside. Still a porch around it. And his wife, when I told her where I was, she invited me in. The inside is still the same. The room's just decorated and done a little different. And I told him how proud I was. And he said, "Well, that is a good, fine house, and we like it just like it is." So it's right down the road from us, between us and US 1 in the woods. And he said to tell get a family, if they want to drive in, come on, it'll be fine. I don't think he meant all at one time. Because the cars will be all the way back out the highway. But it is in a beautiful place, and it looks the same when you drive up to it as it was when it was down there on that in the other community. So I was so proud just to get to get inside and look.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Tell them how Daddy would work in Kingsland during the winter
Oh,
and come back in the summer and farm.
Daddy promised Mom, when they bought the farm, that he would never mortgage it. They would never do that. So after we moved in, and I guess when the money was spent on the house and whatever they needed to use, Daddy took a job at the Chevrolet place in Kingsland as master mechanic. We got a picture of him in that old building, in that, garage or whatever you call that place where they work, he's there. We would go down and stay for a year or so, sometime until they thought they had ample money to come back and farm the farm for a few years. I think that we did that about 3 different times. And whenever Daddy really had a bank account that we could really count on. The last move we made, I was a year old. Charlie was a baby. And Mom, no, Charlie was not born. I'm getting ahead of myself here now, I'm thinking something. Charlie was not born. This was in December before he was born in February. Mama needed some help with the washing. Back then, ladies, you washed outside in a wash pot. There weren't no indoor place in the house. There weren't no running water. It was well water. You got your own water. It was Christmas. Marita's 13 years older than me. She was taking care of me. Mama was trying to get herself ready. She was fixing to have another baby. She was not well at this time. She gave Marita the money. She said, you go to town and buy Christmas presents, but get Jimmy a doll. Y'all, I love dolls. Still do. We had a colored washburn. She had a little girl my age, and we played together. We just loved each other. Marita come home with the Christmas presents, and guess what she had? A black doll. Daddy like to have a fit. But back then, you didn't do that. Y'all know how it was. You older ones, you didn't associate with them people. You just didn't. That was wrong. We know that now, but that was the way it was. Well, when they got ready to move back to the farm, it was in April. Charlie was a baby. I cried because Mama gave my doll away, my baby. And Daddy told me, he said, honey, if you were crying, I'll buy you another one. Well, we got home. Mama needed to bathe the baby in and some other little things she needed. She sent Daddy to Cresses in Waycross with a list. This is what we need. And Daddy was in there. And Daddy's first cousin worked in Cresses. Cousin Clinton Bland. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. And whenever she got all the stuff up that was on the list and was getting it ready,